Time to talk about a little Arkansas football, and Coach Bret Bielema is kind enough to join us here. Although, Coach, I got to admit, you're not styling the same kind of shoes last year. You had a certain level of swag last year with those Nikes.
I did. I actually had a pair shipped in. I was thinking about going with them, but it just didn't match the feel what I had going on today. And then I did watch yesterday, and I saw how you treated the guy with the shoes yesterday. So I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the low road today.
I gotta commend you, because last year you had a brutal start. I think it was 2-4, and then you went 6-1 after that. What was the watershed moment for you?
I think character. Kids that believe and understand sometimes things don't come at you the way that you want them, and you got to work to get what you want. And they believed in it, kept the faith, got better. I go back throughout time in my career. I know that we can play football in November, and we've been able to traditionally close out games. I think my record at Wisconsin in the month of November was like 26-2 or something like that. And it's just the way we develop our players. It's just the mentality they go through. But we got to play better in September and October. I mean, maybe I believed in the philosophy you win games in November to win championships, but you got
not in the conference you're in now.
No, you got to. One thing I was proud of last year is we went 0-8 my first year in the SEC play. We went 2-6 my second year. Last year we went 5-3.
I know.
And those three games were a game that we led Alabama at the half. We just didn't have enough horses to finish that race. Mississippi State blocked a 12-yard field goal that should have been a game-winning money shot. Just fell asleep in our protection at the right end spot, and then we lost an A&M in overtime. And that's how close those three games are. But that's the difference between an 8-5 season or the difference between something special.
You, Coach, to get off to that good start, you're going to have to get your offense going in a hurry.
Yeah.
You got a lot of parts to replace.
We do. We lost, 5 players got drafted in the draft on offense alone. And anytime you lose your quarterbacks, you have concerns, but then you lost 2 running backs. Not only number 1, number 2, they also took my running back coach, took him in the NFL, so the NFL wanted to come in and raid my running back room. And then, we lost, obviously, a tremendous player in tight end, Hunter Henry, and an offensive lineman, Sebastian Tretola, who was voted the offensive lineman of the year. So we got to get it going. The thing I like is the quarterback is his little brother, a guy that's watching.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. Austin Allen?
It's a crazy deal, but when he's watched his brother go through a lot of things, and the one thing I always tell our players is the more he can learn through others' mistakes or lessons learned that you never have to. And I think he really took to heed that the last 2 years, especially. And he's a different kid, even though the same mother, same father lived in the same home and did all the same things. They're kind of completely different kids. He's one of those kids that's got a little bit more of a bravado, a little more. I'm going to take this room and go. BA was a very calm, kind of a pacifist, kind of a very. Now he got a little more aggressive as time came on. So I like it. We're always going to have good running backs. I got 2 guys that I think will be 1,000-yard rushers. Should do what they do. Got a tight end, Hunter Henry. Had some obviously success a year ago, but this guy. Jeremy Sprinkle, who I brought with me today, a 6'5", 250, probably 6'6", 250, runs like a deer. We actually used him in sets last year that we didn't think Hunter could do. So we really think the world of him, think he could be the best tight end in college football again. And I think offensively our OC, Dan Enos, is a star in the mix. Already been a head coach, already had success as a head coach, and just looking for that next opportunity.
Arkansas coach Bret Bielema joining us here on the show. And with the Austin Allen thing, at high school, I'm used to that. Like, right. I went to Hialeah High, and the Arterburn family must have put like 8 people through the athletic program. And you can see the brother coming up in high school, but in college, how did you end up recruiting both guys like that?
Well, I was fortunate enough that BA was already in place. And then his dad, Bobby Allen, is my director of high school relations. He was on staff for like the last 15 years at Arkansas. And then I retained him and gave a scholarship to Austin, who was committed to us prior to coming there, but I reaffirmed it and just liked what I saw. I just love his demeanor. He's kind of, like I said, you're going to fall in love with the kid. He went to the Manning camp, and Archie shot me a text the day after and said, Brett, one of the more impressive kids in our camp. Very, very impressed with him, and that made you feel good. I think he knows a thing or two about quarterbacks, so I'm excited. I think we're going to walk into in SEC play. I think a lot of people think we're going to be ho-hum, and we'll just see what ho-hum gets.
Coach, after many years in the Big Ten, now you are accustomed to the Southeastern Conference. You're playing your style in the SEC. From a personnel standpoint, the player standpoint. I'm looking at some of the guys walking through here.
Yeah.
And I'd like
guys.
to kidnap a few for the University of Miami. What do you think the difference is between the SEC guys you have now, the pool available to you, and what you have or had in the Big Ten?
I think two things jump out. First is up front, the defensive line in particular is much more in depth and much more developed earlier in their careers. Sometimes in my other league, you get guys their junior, senior year kind of look like what you're talking about. One of those guys that you're like, whoa, okay, he's a coin toss guy. He's the guy who went out there looking the right way. But in this league, they come in looking like that as freshmen. And, I think I look back to last year, we go to play Alabama, and not only do they have 8 defensive linemen rotating through, they actually have about 12 guys that get legitimate playing time. And just you can keep those 350-pound, 320-pound D tackles, under 30 reps a game and let them play their hearts out. That's pretty hard to block. And then the other thing is, it's kind of like when I went and watched Roscoe Parrish play in high school. He did not have a great team around him, but you saw who Roscoe Parrish was and what he could do to a game. Everybody in the SEC has one of those guys somewhere that you have to defend and realize can change the game in a minute, whether it be a punt returner, a corner, a wideout, somebody in skill that literally can take the game over in a New York second.
Wow, Bret Bielema hanging out at a Miami High game. How about that? There you go.
Quite a few in my day.
That's a beautiful thing.
Well, he still enjoys coming down to South Florida. And
I'm flying down today.
Yeah.
I'll be in South Florida by 4 p.m.
All right. We'll wrap it up with this. Your running backs that are taking over now, you lost 2 good ones.
Yeah.
But they've been kind of injury prone. Is that a concern?
It is a little bit, but both of them kind of freaky on their own. Cody Walker, 6-year player, broke his leg before I got here. Last year had a foot injury, but he's gone from 265 down to 240. Looks great. And he does some things I wish I could do. Mine just keeps going the wrong direction, but he's slim, looks great. And Raleigh Williams just kind of had a freak injury a year ago. He broke his neck. I mean, how many times do you say that? The guy broke his neck. He had a surgery. Could have actually gone in spring ball. We didn't allow it. He's got total clearance. Mom and dad are on board. Thank God, too. His dad is a Dallas police officer, and obviously the things that they've been through this last week, and just a tremendous kid, a tremendous family, and I really think he's going to be special. We also have 2 freshman running backs, one from in-state, T.J. Hammonds, who I think could be good, and then a young man that we signed out of Beaumont, that Devois Whaley, that in my opinion on high school film might be the most complete running back I've ever signed in my career. So I'm very excited, excited for the guys that have left, but very excited for the ones that are coming up.
Well, there's no doubt you're going to have success. You're a hell of a coach, Bret. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen. Good to see you guys.
Bret Bielema.
Be safe, man.
There you go, Bret Bielema, good dude, man, and good insight there on his team coming into the 2016 season.